Here I am, standing in the middle of my parents' kitchen in Minnesota, holding a plate of grilled chicken that's apparently too dry for Deborah's liking, my hands trembling with a mix of fury and betrayal. My dad sits across from me, passing the salt without a word, while my stepmother's voice cuts through the air like a knife. Really, Anna, for someone with a nursing degree, you'd think you could master basic cooking. I can feel the heat rising in my chest, a volcano of resentment that's been simmering for a month since I uprooted my life in Boston to come here. But it's what I say next that changes everything. Funny how your health issues never stop you from inspecting my work, but they magically keep you from doing any housework yourself. The silence that follows is suffocating, deafening, like the moment before a storm breaks. Deborah's face twists into something dangerous, and my dad's fork freezes halfway to his mouth. I've just thrown a match into a pile of dry leaves, and there's no going back. My name is Anna. I'm 33, and until a month ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I was an ICU nurse in Boston, a damn good one, with 8 years of sweat and tears building a career I loved. I had a cozy apartment overlooking the harbor, a cat named Luna who kept me sane, and friends who felt like family, especially Sarah, my rock. I'd worked hard to get there, pulling night shifts, calming panicked patients, earning a reputation as the nurse you could count on in a crisis. Then came the call from my dad, Frank, a man who knows how to wield guilt like a weapon. "Your stepmother's health is declining, Anna," he'd said, his voice heavy with that practiced concern I'd heard too many times. "Family comes first. We need you here." Those words echoed in my head as I stared at my resignation letter, the ink blurring through tears I didn't want to shed. I packed up my life, said goodbye to Boston, and drove 12 hours to Minnesota, thinking I was doing the right thing. I was wrong. The moment I pulled into the driveway, I knew something was off. My dad stood on the porch, arms crossed, not bothering to help with my boxes, while Deborah peered out from the living room window, already frowning at how I'd parked my car. "You'll have to move that," were my dad's first words to me. No hello, no thank you, just a barked order about Deborah needing clear access for her car. I'd just driven halfway across the country, my cat Luna meowing anxiously in her carrier, my entire life stuffed into a U-Haul. And that's what he says? I bit my tongue, exhaustion weighing me down, and followed him to the basement apartment they'd prepared for me. The space was a relic from the early 90s, damp, dark, with tiny windows near the ceiling that let in slivers of gray light. The carpet smelled like mothballs, and the bathroom's cracked tiles screamed neglect. "It's ready," my dad said, brushing off the obvious decay. "We cleared out some old boxes, but you'll need to clean it up a bit." I set Luna's carrier down, her wide eyes mirroring my disbelief, and tried to process what I'd walked into. "Deborah needs help with her medication schedule," my dad continued as he led me down the creaky stairs, "and the house needs a thorough cleaning. She can't manage like she used to." I nodded, still clinging to the idea that my nursing skills were the reason I was here. I'd pictured myself coordinating her care, using my expertise to ease her declining health. But as he climbed back upstairs, Deborah's voice floated down. "Frank, tell her to vacuum down there before she brings in more boxes. I can hear her feet crunching on dirt from up here." I looked at Luna, who stared back with her usual unimpressed expression, and muttered, "What have we gotten ourselves into, girl?" I should have known then that this wasn't about medical care. It was about control. That first week set the tone. Every morning started at 7 a.m. sharp with Deborah's breakfast meds, a simple routine I could have taught anyone to handle, but it didn't stop there. Suddenly, I was cleaning the entire house, vacuuming, dusting, scrubbing floors, then grocery shopping, cooking meals, doing laundry, and even mowing the damn lawn. All while Deborah hovered, her criticisms sharp and constant. "That's not how you fold towels," she'd say, peering over my shoulder, her voice dripping with disdain as if I'd failed some unspoken test. "You're using too much detergent. No wonder you're still single if you can't manage basic housework." Each word stung, a jab at my life choices, my independence, my pride. My nursing skills, the ones they'd supposedly begged me to bring home, were barely needed. A quick check of her pills, a reminder to take them, 5 minutes tops. Yet Deborah's declining health seemed to vanish when it suited her. She'd hop in her car and drive to Bridge Club, laughing with her friends over tea, or spend hours at the mall, coming back with bags of clothes she'd model for herself in the mirror. I'd watch her, baffled, wondering where the frail woman my dad had described had gone. Meanwhile, my dad was a ghost, disappearing to his construction business before dawn and only showing up at night to nod along with Deborah. "Your stepmom has high standards," he'd say when I dared to complain, his tone dismissive, like I was the unreasonable one. "Is it so wrong to want things done right?" I'd bite my lip, the resentment bubbling, but I'd nod, because what else could I do? I felt like a shadow of myself. In Boston, I'd been someone. Patients relied on me. Colleagues respected me. I'd built a life that mattered. Here, I was a maid in a moldy basement, my days measured in dirty dishes and Deborah's size. Luna, my cat, seemed to feel it too. She'd curl up on the lumpy basement couch, her green eyes watching me with a mix of pity and boredom. My phone became my only escape, buzzing with texts from Sarah back in Boston. "How's Minnesota treating you?" she'd ask, and I'd stare at the screen, fingers hovering, not knowing how to admit I was miserable. "It's fine," I'd lie, but she saw through it. "They're working you to death, aren't they? I saw Deborah's Facebook, bridge club pics. She doesn't look sick to me." I'd laugh, a hollow sound, because she was right, but I couldn't say it out loud. Not yet. Then there was Tina, the neighbor who turned my life into her personal soap opera. She was a wiry woman in her 50s, always in bright leggings and a visor, her phone perpetually in hand, live streaming to her little Facebook audience. The day I arrived, she'd been out there narrating my exhaustion like a sportscaster. "Hey folks, Anna's here from Boston. Look at those bags under her eyes. Bet she's regretting this already." I'd glared at her through the car window, but she just waved, undeterred. Every chore I did, she was there, mowing the lawn, hauling trash, unloading groceries. "Anna's at it again, people. Deborah's got her on a leash. Hit that like button if you're Team Anna." It was humiliating, but I was too tired to care. Little did I know, Tina's nosiness would become my unlikely lifeline. A new face showed up that second week. Marie, Jack's wife, my sister-in-law. She was 36, petite with sharp eyes, and she'd always been the quiet one at family gatherings. She dropped by with a casserole, claiming it was for Deborah, but her real reason was clear when she pulled me aside in the kitchen. "I saw Deborah at the mall yesterday," she whispered, glancing toward the living room where Deborah was flipping through a magazine. 4 hours, Anna." She was fine, carrying bags, laughing with her friends. "What's going on here?" I froze, the sponge in my hand dripping suds onto the counter. "Dad says she's declining," I muttered, but Marie shook her head. "Something's off. Jack won't say it, but I think they're playing you." Her words hit like a punch, stirring the doubts I'd buried under exhaustion. I wanted to believe her, but guilt, my old friend, kept me silent. Then there was Dr. Patel, Deborah's doctor, a calm man in his 40s with a clipped accent and a no-nonsense air. I met him when he stopped by to drop off a prescription refill. I'd hoped to talk shop, maybe get clarity on Deborah's condition, but he seemed surprised to see me. "You're the nurse from Boston?" he asked, adjusting his glasses. I didn't know Deborah needed full-time care. I frowned. "Dad said her health's declining. Chronic stuff, right?" Dr. Patel hesitated, then lowered his voice. "Her conditions are managed. Meds, checkups, that's it. She's stable." My stomach twisted. Stable? Then why was I here? He left before I could press him, but his words lingered, a crack in the story I'd been sold. The days blurred into a grind. I'd wake to Deborah banging on the basement door. "Anna, meds!" as if I'd forget. Then it was cleaning, cooking, yard work, her voice trailing me like a shadow. "The windows are streaky. The laundry's wrinkled. You call this a meal?" My hands would shake as I chopped vegetables, her nitpicking wearing me down. One afternoon, I was scrubbing the bathtub, knees aching, bleach fumes burning my eyes, when Tina popped up at the bathroom window, phone out. "Anna's on tub duty, folks. Deborah's upstairs sipping tea. Who's the real patient here?" I snapped. "Tina, can you not?" She grinned. "Just giving the people what they want, hon." I slammed the window shut, but her words stuck. Who was the real patient? My brothers were useless. Jack, 38, with his perfect suburban life, came by once with his kids in tow. He saw me sweating over the lawnmower, Deborah barking orders from the porch, and bolted after 5 minutes. "Gotta get the kids home," he mumbled, avoiding my eyes. Deborah smirked. "Some of us have real responsibilities." I wanted to scream. 8 years in the ICU wasn't real? Peter, 35 and single, was worse. I called him, desperate. "Can you help out? I'm drowning here," he chuckled. "Nah, sis, you're the martyr type. Deborah'd eat me alive anyway." He hung up, and I threw my phone across the room, startling Luna. They got to live their lives while I scrubbed floors. Why? Because I was the medical one? Sarah's texts grew insistent. Your supervisor called again. They're holding your spot. Come back, Anna. I'd stare at them, heart racing, but my dad's voice would creep in. We supported you. Family comes first. I'd fold, guilt chaining me to that damn house. But then came the day that broke me. I was in Deborah's rose garden, thorns snagging my skin, the sun beating down, when I heard her on the phone through the open window. Frank was so clever, she said, her laugh cold and smug. Exaggerating my health got Anna here. Free housekeeper who can't complain. Family, you know. Though she's terrible at it. My hands froze, dirt caked under my nails, as rage and hurt crashed over me. They'd lied. It was never about my skills, it was about free labor. I stumbled inside, dizzy with betrayal, and that's when Marie texted. Caught Deborah at tennis club today. She's fine, Anna. Talk to Dr. Patel. I did, cornering him at his next visit. Is she really declining? I demanded. He sighed. She's stable. I told them that. They didn't need you here. My chest tightened. Confirmation of the scam. Tina, of course, caught it all, live streaming from the yard. Big news, folks. Anna's onto them. Doctor says Deborah's faking. Hit share. I didn't care anymore. I had proof, and I was done. That night, I grilled chicken, Deborah's way, and faced them. This chicken's dry, she sneered, and the roses are a mess. I stood, voice steady. Funny how your health doesn't stop you from criticizing, but keeps you from lifting a finger. Silence. What? She hissed. I heard you, I said. You lied about your health to trick me here. Free housekeeper, right? My dad sputtered. Anna? No, I cut in. I gave up my career because you manipulated me. I'm done. Tina's live stream exploded, and I packed my bags, Luna in tow, their pleas fading as I drove away. That first week set the tone. Every morning started at 7 a.m. sharp with Deborah's breakfast meds, a simple routine I could have taught anyone to handle. But it didn't stop there. Suddenly, I was cleaning the entire house, vacuuming, dusting, scrubbing floors, then grocery shopping, cooking meals, doing laundry, and even mowing the damn lawn. All while Deborah hovered, her criticism sharp and constant. That's not how you fold towels, she'd say, peering over my shoulder, her voice laced with a smugness that made my skin crawl. You're using too much detergent. No wonder you're still single if you can't manage basic housework. Each barb dug deeper, chipping away at the confidence I'd built over years in Boston. My nursing skills, the ones they'd supposedly begged me to bring home, were barely needed. 5 minutes to sort her pills, and that was it. Yet Deborah's declining health vanished whenever it suited her. She'd breeze out the door to bridge club, her laughter echoing as she drove off, or return from the mall with bags dangling from her arms, her energy boundless. I'd watch her, jaw tight, wondering how I'd been so naive. My dad, meanwhile, was a ghost, vanishing to his construction business at dawn and slinking back at night to parrot Deborah's line. Your stepmom has high standards, he'd say when I vented, his eyes avoiding mine. Is it so wrong to want things done right? I'd swallow my anger, guilt still anchoring me, but it was starting to fray. I wasn't me anymore. In Boston, I'd been a force. Patients clung to me in their darkest moments. Colleagues leaned on me in chaos. Here I was a servant, my worth tied to how spotless I could make Deborah's floors. Luna felt it too, her sleek black form pacing the basement, her meows a quiet protest against the damp air. My phone was my lifeline, Sarah's texts a tether to the life I'd left. How's it going? She'd ask, and I'd hesitate, fingers trembling over the keys. Fine, I'd type, but she wasn't fooled. Deborah's not sick. She's on Facebook hosting tea parties. Get out of there. I'd force a smile, but inside I was unraveling. Tina, the neighbor, made it worse, and better. She was everywhere, her phone a constant threat, live streaming my misery like a twisted reality show. Anna's hauling trash again, folks, she'd chirp from her yard, her voice grating through the window. Deborah's got her running ragged. Team Anna, sound off. I'd grit my teeth, but her audience grew, and I started to see her as a warped mirror, reflecting the absurdity I couldn't yet name. Marie, Jack's wife, cracked the facade wider. She showed up with a casserole one day, her kids trailing behind, but her eyes were on me. I saw Deborah at the mall, she murmured in the kitchen, her voice low as Deborah flipped through a magazine nearby. 4 hours, Anna. She was fine. This isn't right. My heart thudded, doubt clawing at me. Dad says she's declining, I whispered, but Marie's gaze was steady. Jack won't admit it, but they're using you. I wanted to argue, to cling to the lie, but her words lodged in my chest. Dr. Patel, Deborah's doctor, drove the point home. He came by with a refill, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the chaos I lived in. "You're the nurse from Boston?" he asked, peering at me over his glasses. "Didn't know Deborah needed live-in care?" I frowned. "Dad said it's serious, chronic issues." He paused, then leaned in. "She's stable. Meds manage it. She doesn't need this." My breath caught, the ground shifting beneath me. Stable? He left, but the truth lingered, sharp and undeniable. The grind wore me down. Deborah's demands piled up, meds, then endless chores, her voice a relentless drone. "The windows are streaky. This soup's bland. You call that pruning?" My hands shook as I scrubbed, her words a hammer on my fraying nerves. One day, I was in the bathroom, bleach burning my lungs, when Tina's face appeared at the window. "Anna's on tub patrol, folks. Deborah's upstairs napping. Who's the sick one here?" I snapped. "Tina, stop it!" She winked. "Truth hurts, hun." I slammed the window, but her question echoed. Jack and Peter were no help. Jack breezed in once, saw me wrestling the lawnmower, and fled with a lame excuse about his kids. "Real responsibilities," Deborah sneered after he left, and I nearly threw the rake at her. Peter laughed off my pleas. "You're the hero, sis. I'd last 5 minutes with Deborah." I was alone, the medical one stuck in a trap I couldn't name. Sarah's text turned desperate. "They're holding your job. Come back." I'd stare at them, pulse racing, but Dad's voice would creep in. Family comes first. I'd stay, drowning in guilt. Then I overheard Deborah in the rose garden, her laugh slicing through me. "Frank was clever. Exaggerating my health got Anna here. Free housekeeper, and she can't quit because she's family." My hands froze, thorns biting my skin, rage and hurt colliding. Marie texted, "Tennis club today. She's fine, doctor." Patel confirmed it. Tina caught it all, live streaming. "Bombshell, folks. Deborah's a fraud." That night I grilled chicken, my hands steady with purpose. Deborah sneered, "Dry again," and I stood. "Funny how your health doesn't stop you from judging, but keeps you from working." Silence. "What?" she hissed. "I heard you," I said. "You lied to trap me here." Dad sputtered. "Anna." "No," I cut in. "I gave up everything for your scam. I'm done." I packed, Luna in her carrier, their voices fading as I drove off, Tina's live stream blazing. The 12-hour drive was liberation. Luna slept, and I breathed freer with each mile. Dad texted guilt trips. Deborah spun lies to relatives, but Sarah's words anchored me. "Job's yours, raise included." I stopped at a hotel, tears falling, not from sadness but release. Dad called. "Deborah's upset. Come back." "Hire help," I said. "I'm not your servant." He went quiet, and I hung up. Boston welcomed me back. The hospital cheered, my supervisor beaming. "We need you." I found a sunny apartment, Luna sprawling by the window. Tina texted updates. Housekeepers quit. Deborah's bridge club snubbed her. Frank fumbled laundry. Marie called. "Jack's stuck cleaning now. He says you're a legend." I smiled, but it wasn't over. 6 months later, I was thriving, promoted, teaching nursing classes, dating a guy who saw me, not a maid. But Dad called one night, voice softer. "The house isn't the same. Deborah's struggling. Help's gone." I paused, the old guilt flickering. "I'm sorry it's hard," I said, "but I'm not for sale." He sighed. "I didn't see what we did." It wasn't an apology, but it was something. I hung up, staring at Luna, the harbor glowing outside. Deborah's world crumbled. Tina's live streams exposed her. Relatives turned, her garden wilted, her lies bare. Frank faced his mess, alone with a wife no one would help. I didn't gloat, I lived. My lesson? Family isn't a debt to pay with your soul. It's love, not leverage. I'm free, but they're trapped in the wreckage they built. Hey, you out there, what do you think? Was I right to walk away or should I have stayed? Drop your thoughts. I'm listening.